Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tito Jayamutire. Nashtaprayesho Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Today we are continuing the chapter Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the 5th chapter of the first canto. We are in the 3rd verse. Nanasitam susampanna apite mahadadbhutam kritvan bharatam yastvam sarvatra parabrihatam jignasitam susampannam apite mahadadbhutam kritvan bharatam yastvam sarvatra paritabhitam. Word to word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Nana Sitam, fully inquired. Susampannam, well versed. Api, in spite of. Mahadbhutam, great and wonderful. Krutvam, prepared. Bharatam, the Mahabharata. Yatvam, what you have done. Sarvatra, including all the sequences. Parivrhitam, elaborately explained. Translation: your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled, and there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and a wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. A very small purport, let's read this. The despondency of Vyasadeva was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student he had fully inquired about the Vedic literatures, as a result of which the Mahabharata is compiled with full explanation of the Vedas. Let's invoke the prayers before I start discussing on this verse. Om Ajnanathmirandasya Dhyananjala Sharakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Strapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sandhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarvyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimade Charataka Swami Namani Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Padaya Gaura Ramadaya Nagaram. Take the blessings of Srila Prabhupada for dear Guru Maharaj. We will go ahead with this discussing this verse for today. Now we've actually gone into the new chapter, and we learned from last 2 days what was the position, how did the Sutta started answering. Okay, how did he address Narada Muni? We understood what are the protocols they did, how well he was seated, how they received him. Yesterday, we also, Varaha Prabhu very nicely explained the practical aspects, how Vyasadeva addressed him in, identifying himself with the lineage. He told the son of Parasara, okay, and he started inquiring, how are you doing? What were you? Were you happy? I mean, you identified with the body and the mind as objects of realization. All that explanation he gave. indirectly he knew, he was kind of hinting how almost jovially smiling at him and hinting that, oh, I know you're not satisfied. Okay, so today's verse is going into the next aspect. It's all the diagnostics. Remember, now Narada Muni is going to do the entire diagnosis. Ditasitam susampanna apite mahadat adbhutam krutvan bharatam yastvam sarvatra paribruhitam. Now, your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled. Now there is no doubt that you have prepared great, wonderful work. Okay, so which means, so again, the further diagnosis of our Sri Narada Muni starts. Now he's clarifying to Vyasadeva that if you're feeling sad, it is definitely not because of your imperfect knowledge, okay, or sufficient knowledge, because we all know who Vyasadeva was. Yesterday, day for yesterday's class also, we referred from the Bhagavad Gita. Of all the sages, Krishna says, I am Vyasadeva, right? So here he's clarifying that because your knowledge is perfect. He says your studies of the scriptures are also very well. There is no doubt about that. And we also came to know in the few verses back that his intention was also top class, absolutely selfless. He was the knower of the future. He knew what was the problem, so he was writing all those separate books. Now, again, he's done this for whom? For the benefit of the future generation. Okay, he's compiled the entire Mahabharata also, he says, okay, with all the exact explanation, purports. It is also considered as Panchama Veda, right? Some places. So who is it going to benefit? Even the Dvijabandhus, the Shudras, also they have the benefit of reading the entire Vedas. Okay, just by reading this particular book. So you have not left any doubt. If a person goes through even the most fallen can understand through your verses and purport that get the benefit of the Vedas. So his clarification is to Vyasadeva saying, don't worry, you definitely have the knowledge. It's not because of that which you are feeling this current asampanna, anatushya, all that feeling. So he's clarifying that to Narada Muni. Now, as always, we identified in the last few verses, thanks to all the acharyas and the senior Vaishnavas classes, we can clearly find out that his intention was perfect. But we discussed that the what was missing, what he was giving, the key word, remember? So Vyasadev's intention was spotlessly selfless, rather, okay, in spite of his position of what he was saying. I am feeling asampanna, natushyat, unsatisfied, whatever was the meaning he was feeling, his intentions was spotless. If we have to explain this in this, his feeling of this unsatisfactory, I don't know whether it's the right example. I'll use, suppose we are a cook, we want to prepare some nice dishes. What will be the mood? Okay, let's rectify this. If it is going to be a, say for example, Parabhakti Mataji, a devotee cook, we are all Matajis join, we prepare a Sunday feast. Okay, so it's our favorite, Andhra style pappu with all that required chutneys and other things. So imagine the set of few Matajis combined together. They want to do a very good food stuff to be organized on a Sunday. Now, what is their mood? The mood is it has to come in a particular color, it has to come in this particular texture. They wanted so much quantity, and they wanted this to be served with that special chutney, and they want this to be served with ghee. These are the particular mood of a devotee cook. Now, all these elaborate plans have happened. There are some standards set. We all have chanted our minimum rounds. We have come in, and despite all that, if it doesn't, if say suppose that entire thing is cooked, we have offered it, Vaishnavas have all honored it, and they are very, very satisfied. They come and give a very nice feedback. But yet, if you see the leader, the cook, the head chef, will be a little unsatisfied if it is not come to her standards, the standards which the cook wanted it. Maybe some extra ghee was not there, or extra dal did not boil a little bit better. Despite doing such a beautiful work, what will the usually the leader or the cook, because the mood is that they want to bring it to top class standards, okay, to satisfy the devotees. So they will say, okay, next time we will make all these corrections. That is a similar position of Vyasadeva. Imagine after Mahabharat, if I'm right, is supposed about 1 lakh verses, if you really see, because it's a couplet, it will be more than 2 lakh slokas. Entire translations is written, entire purport, and he's still unhappy. Whereas his spiritual master is happy and he's praising him. Oh, don't worry, you have written everything. You have described, all the 4 aspects, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all that is there. But then, I don't know if you've written anything about Bhagavat Prema. Huh? Even if you have mentioned, it's mentioned, not highlighted. Huh? You have not glorified Krishna. Huh? You may have, all other 4 things you may have done, but you have not glorified Krishna. So that is what is, so the spiritual master is happy, is in fact praising him. So many other verses are of course going to, I'm not going to break the suspense, as I keep saying, this has to be enjoyed, each verse. There are only a few things, because here it clearly says the despondency of Vyasadeva was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student he was fully inquired about the Vedic literature, as a result of which Mahabharata, which I said was over 1 lakh verses, was compiled with full explanation of the Vedas. It is even referred as a Panchama Veda. So these are the 2 points which kind of come out in this particular verses. I do not want to break and share what is the next verse onwards. We will have very senior leader explaining the rest of the verses. I would like to end with these 2 points, and if I have missed any point, I would request other leaders and Matarapati Prabhu to highlight it here. Hare Krishna. Thank you for this opportunity, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.